Hi everyone, so today I want to show you this card. So this is a 5x7 version of a 6x6 that I did in a live stream, and it's an original design. I'm calling it a 5x7 diamond twister card. Thank you for Anika for that name because I wasn't quite sure what to call it, but I think that works quite well. And so this is the 5x7 version. I've gone for a much more simple way of decorating it than I did with the 6x6, and I think I actually prefer it. So anyway, so that's what it looks like from the front, and then it opens up. And inside you've got these little butterflies and a thank you very much die in the middle. And then on the back you've got space to write. Yeah, and it folds flat obviously to fit in an envelope for a 5x7 card. The papers I've used today are my Sunflower Days papers, which come as paper pads, which are available on Amazon. And it's also available as a digital kit over on DRK Crafts. I think it might also still be available on Etsy. It's definitely available on DRK Crafts anyway. So yeah, go and check those out. All the links are in the description below. So let's get into it. Okay, so for this card, you're going to need a piece of base card. You need one piece that's 5x7, but you're not going to need to score that. And then you need one piece that is 7 inches by 10. And along the 10-inch edge, you're going to score at 2.5. And then just make a little mark at 5. And then score at 7.5. And then what you want to do is if you come in with a ruler, you'll probably need a cork board for this as well, is you want to put your ruler along the top and then you're just going to mark at 5, obviously where you've already done your 5, and also along the bottom at 5. And then if you turn your board round, so you've now got these score lines going across the page, and this is going to be my top. So from the top, you are going to measure down from the top and mark at 2.5, and then up from the bottom 2.5 inches and make a mark, and that's all of your marking done. So now we're going to go ahead and score. So you want to score from the 2.5 mark on your score line up to the top right hand corner and up to your 5-inch mark along the top. So you should end up with that, and then you're going to do the same on the bottom. So you're going to go from your mark on your score line to the bottom left hand corner, and then from the mark to the 5-inch line. So then you want to go ahead, and these two gatefold folds, you just want to fold them in and also then fold them back. Make sure they do actually meet in the middle, because if they don't and they overlap, then you're going to have problems later. So mine are wanting to overlap, so I'm going to force them to meet in the middle instead, like that. And then just fold them back as well, because you want it to be able to go both ways. And then what you want to do is, with it open like this, you're going to fold along here, and these are going to be valley folds. So what I would do is just kind of coax it, and then once you've coaxed it, then just kind of bend it over like that, and then just make sure that it's all lining up. And as you can see, mine doesn't, even though I've scored it, it doesn't really want to go for it. So then just tell it where to go. So go over it and burnish it in the right place, and that gives you that bit there. Then we're going to do the same in the bottom. So again, just going to push one fold in, kind of fold it down. Again, just get it so it's pretty much all lined up, and then burnish it, and that gives you your card blank. So now we need to go ahead, and I think it's best for us to stick this down onto your backing piece. Now if you want to, you can leave it just like this and just have it as a card like that, but I quite like it stuck onto the backing piece. So I'm going to go ahead now and just stick this down. Okay, so there's different ways you can decorate this. Now I'm going to go with what I think is going to be the simplest, like the least in your face way. This is a 6x6 one that I did, and this is obviously without the backing, and you can see I've got triangles here, and I would have triangles here if I had a back piece, and then I've got a very large triangle on the front like that, and then inside it's all squares and triangles. So inside it's a bit like a patchwork quilt. You've got your large triangles here, and then small triangles, all the way, and then 2 squares. So that's like probably one of the busiest ways you could do it. You could also do it, so we could apply that same kind of ideas to this. Obviously it's going to be different because that's a rectangle. This is another one that I did. This looks a bit more like a napkin fold card. I did make a mistake when I was doing this in the live, but it's fine. I mean, you know, it's not really a mistake, it's just not how I planned it. So for this one, I put the 2 squares on the outside and then had triangle, 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 triangle. And on the inside, it looks more like a napkin fold, which I like because it's a bit less for the eyes to look at, but I also don't like it because I kind of feel like it makes it look like a napkin fold. So again, you can decorate this one in a similar, it's not going to be exactly the same because as I said, this is a rectangle, but it's going to be a similar way. You could do it in a similar way. However, I think we're going to go for the easiest, what I think is going to be the easiest way. So you will need, and you're going to have to not go, because when you do the way I've just shown you, those 2 ways, you're going by measurements. Whereas with this, you're going to be going more by doing things by eye, just so you get your angles correct. So you're going to need, in total you'll need 2 pieces of mat, because you're going to need one, if you're going to write on the back, you'll need one to go on the back, because that's what I did with this one. So this one, you can write on the back here. But if you want to put your message in the middle, which I think I'm going to do with this one, then you only need 1 piece of mat, and this is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this out flat. I'm going to put this on like that. I am going to do it by eye, just because my angles might not be bang on. So I'm going to do it this way, and actually kind of eye up what I think that angle is going to be, and just draw a line. And do the same on this side. Carefully turn it around without moving the whole thing. And do the same here. So that's like that. So I'm going to go ahead now and just cut these corners off. So if we bring this in, lay it down, you can see that fits quite nicely. Keep your triangles because you're going to need these to fill these bits in here. So let us, before we stick this down, let's sort out the pattern. So again, now for this one, I am going to turn it over. I'm going to turn this over here and turn that over there, because then what happens is I can draw on the back and I'm not going to see the pencil lines. So again, you want to lay it on like that, and you are then going to, again, draw a little line. And again, I think if you measure 2.5, it probably will work, but again, you may end up with inconsistencies. So let me measure this. 2.5, you know, 2.5 is a bit too far down. That actually works out more 2 3/8. That's why I prefer to eye it, because I feel like if you eye it, you know the chances of it fitting are going to be better and higher than if you're measuring. So that is that. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this like that, and then I know which angle fits with which angle, and I'm going to scissor cut this. Okay, so I'm going to turn that over, bring that round, stick that on, and then we know that is fitting really nicely on there. Look at that border, that's perfect. Not perfect, but it's pretty much perfect. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick that down. And I'm going to go ahead now and just stick that straight in. Okay, so that's that one done. Now your little triangles, they are going to be useful. So again, lay them down, and then again put your ruler over the top and work out what looks like an even border. I think about there. And to save me having to do it twice, I'm actually going to put this up here and see if it looks about right. And if it does, which I think it does, it's difficult to see. I'm just going to put these together and hope for the best, I think. So I'm going to put these 2 together like this, line them up along the 2 straight edges, and then we're going to cut down that pencil line. So you should end up with 2 triangles, and hopefully they will fit nicely in these corners, and they do. Hooray! Cool. So then, before we stick them down, let's take our pattern pieces. Try and get it so it matches up if you can. So that obviously goes in the bottom there. So this is going to be this bottom section here. And I'm going to just go on, do it on the pattern and hope for the best. So I'm going to line that up. Normally I'd do it on the back, so that then you're not going to see the pencil line, but I'm going to just go for it. So that's going to be like that. And then I'm going to just, on the back, I'm just going to write bottom, a B, and this is the top. Yep, so that goes there. So let's just turn that around like that and put top. And then I'm going to put these back to back like that. And I'm going to cut them together. I would probably advise, if you're not confident, to do them separately. But because I'm just trying to speed things up a little bit, I'm going to do them together. So now we can go ahead and stick these onto their corresponding, that's the top, corresponding mat pieces, and then stick them into the card. So I've had another thought, and I'm actually not going to stick these into the card just yet, because I might not want them here and here. I might want a pattern there, and I might want to use these elsewhere. So I'm going to put those to one side for now, and we're going to deal with these big bits here. So these big bits, you've got 2 on the inside, and obviously you've got 2 on the outside as well. So you're going to need 2 pieces of mat, and these are 2 1/4 by 6 3/4, and then you need so you need 4 of these, and then you need 4 patterns that are 2 by 6 1/2. And so we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to bring in our mat and place it down. And actually I can do this the other way around, so I'm going to do this the way around. So I'm just going to turn this around, and yes, it's patterned on the other side, I know. And so let's put that into position so it's kind of right. So the 3 borders you've got are kind of even. And then with those 3 borders even, we'll take our ruler, trying not to move it. And I'm going to again lay it down, put it on so that then that looks like that angle will be an even border. So I think about there. And then we're going to draw a line. And what I'm going to do, again, you can do one for each one if you want. I'm just going to put left hand side on here. But if you want to, you can go ahead and take your other mat, put it face to face, well, it'll be the way around when it back to back because of where the line is, and then just cut the 2 together. You can cut all 4 together if you're feeling really brave. Just make sure that wherever you've got a pattern, you put a pattern, and wherever you've got a mat, you put, sorry, the plain, do you know what I mean? Like you've got, so I've got colour to colour there, and I've got pattern, you know, pattern to pattern there, just because obviously I'm using the patterns out of the book. So I'm going to try and hold these as best I can so they don't move. Once again, keep these because you're going to need those. That's all my mat layers. I mustn't forget, because I've got a pattern on one side and mat on the other. It can get a bit confusing. So then, I'm going to turn this round. I'm going to use one of these, and I'm going to take one piece of pattern, and I'm going to put it so that, obviously, that's my mat, that's my pattern that I'm using. So let's just turn them both over, turn them around, and then I'm going to lay that on there like that, again, and make sure it's all nice and even. Take my ruler, and then work out roughly where our border needs to be, so about there. I'm going to draw a line. And then I'm going to cut all 4 together. This is a very dangerous way of doing it. I think that's not quite bang on, but it will do. Now, these are slightly different, and actually when I was filming this, and I have edited it out so you won't get this in the recording, but I've made a bit of a mistake. And I've deliberately left it out of the recording because otherwise it's going to confuse you. So where, with the mat, if you remember, we went pattern to pattern and then plain side to plain side, you know, you back them up, which meant then you have got the right amount of angles. But with the patterns, you don't want to do that because it will you will come unstuck. So this yellow pattern I want in the inside. Now, I've already cut one out, and this one is going to be, so this is the one that's wrong. This is the one that's wrong. So as you can see, it doesn't fit. I want this to be on the inside, but it doesn't fit anywhere because I've done my angle the wrong way around. And that's because I used pattern to pattern and then back to back. And obviously that has caused me then to not do it correctly. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to lay them. Here's my correct one. So here's the correct one. So this is the one. I want it to be on the inside, so that's fine. And I want to do it exactly the same way round because then it will fit over here. Can you see if I turn it, it fits. So I'm going to lay this, let me turn it over so you can get it on the side. I'm just literally going to lay this on here, line it all up, and I'm just going to draw a line down that line there. Okay, and then I know then that is definitely going to be the right angle for my inside pattern piece. So that then fits there like that. So now for the outside pieces, if I just quickly close, let me just put these together and we'll stick them together in a moment. So if I close this up and put my mat pieces into play, so that's obviously there, and this one is here. Again, I want those angles to be identical. Now I've deliberately cut this so it's kind of one continuous piece. So when it's on the front, you kind of have the pattern continuing. So I need to remember that. So this is going to go on here like that. So I need to cut this bottom section off. And this one is going to go on here like this. I need to make sure I cut off the top section. So I'm going to carefully remove both of these so that they are correct. And then we are going to cut along like we did before with the ruler technique and make sure we definitely get them the right way round. Okay, so they are spot on. So I'm now going to go ahead and stick all my patterns onto my mats. Okay, so we've stuck those 4 pieces down, so I'm going to go ahead now and just stick them into place on the card, so we've got less bits floating around on our desk. Okay, so there's the front, there's the inside. So this is why I was hanging on with these triangles, because I quite like the idea of having triangles, like the yellow maybe there, and then this one maybe hit like a different way round. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Maybe I want to just go with the same, or do I want to go with the ones from the front maybe? So I'm just going to go ahead now and I'm going to cut out the rest of these mat and pattern pieces, the triangles, so they're the right size, and then stick the patterns onto the mats, and then we'll have a bit of a pattern and see, you know, a bit of a play around, a bit of a puzzle piece, and see what we want to put where. Okay, so I've matted and layered all of my little pieces. So I think I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick those down. Okay, so I've gone ahead and stuck all my little triangles down. So now in the middle here, I've got this, which is a Gemini die that I got. Or given, so this is it. And it comes with a shadow. So I thought I'm going to put that in the middle there like that. I've got a couple of butterflies, which I'm going to put on the bottom here and have them kind of half on, half off, which I thought would be quite nice. So I'm going to go ahead now and stick those down. And actually, before I stick that down, I'm going to go ahead and stick my white piece. So what I've done is I've got a matte piece that is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and a white piece that's 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. Now, you can, if you want, stamp that before you go ahead and stick it down, but because this is going to be a thank you card, I'm going to leave mine blank because the chances are I'm going to want to write a message on the back. So I'm not going to stamp it. If I change my mind later, I can always use a peel off and put a thank you peel off on. So let's just turn this over and stick this down on here. And then we can go ahead and stick our greeting in the middle and our 2 little butterflies on the inside. So there's my 2 butterflies. Now whatever you stick on these corners, just make sure when you close it, it doesn't get in the way, like it doesn't get in the way of this fold here, etc. And then on the front, I thought I'd put this really big butterfly and just hold it on one side. So I'm just going to stick half of it on this side and the other half will be loose. I think that's probably the best thing. I was going to put something on the front, but because it's a thank you card, I'm going to leave it as it is and just do a butterfly in the middle. Again, if I change my mind later, I've got space, plenty of space. I could maybe add one in the top corner somewhere, or you know, somewhere else on the card. So I'm just going to put that on like that. So there you have your finished 5x7 card, and I actually quite like this way of decorating it. I think it's far less complicated and busy. I quite like the way it looks, and I like the fact like when you've got a pattern paper like this, if you try and make it match up, it makes it look more kind of complete. And you open it up and there's your little pop-up bits, and then there's your greeting, and then obviously you've got space on the back to write. So there. So I really like that. So that's a really nice little card. This is an original design, so please make sure that you credit me if you do this. You're welcome to case it, obviously, but I've not seen this anywhere before, so this was something I just came up with. I was actually trying to make a different card, but anyway, it turned out like this, so there you go. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, and I will see you again next time. Bye!